Have you ever been scrolling on your phone in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day and you're like, I know I have work to do. I just can't get myself to do it. Or you have something important to do and you just totally forgot. Like, oh, you told me to do that? Yeah, you told me to do that. I don't remember that you told me to do that, but I trust that you told me to do that. These might be signs, they might be signs of ADHD. So one question that I get a lot is like, what does ADHD look like in adults? And really the answer to that is it's different for everybody. First, let's start off with the fact that people don't just wake up as an adult one day and like, oh, I have ADHD. Most likely they've always had ADHD. They were just never diagnosed. Or it's just like people thought certain things that they did in the way that they were was just part of their personality. That's Mark. He's just like his dad. His dad is the same way. Oh yeah, no, definitely. Lisa, yep, she's flighty. Her mom is just like that. They're the same. And they take on almost a life of their own because you think it's part of your personality, when in reality, what it is that may be that how that person is compensating or overcompensating because they have ADHD that has not been diagnosed. So most of the people that I see, they get diagnosed as adults. But part of my assessment is I do go back into their history and I'm like, all right, I want you to think about what you were like when you were in middle school, elementary school, high school. And we kind of talk about some of the little things that they used to do. Because the difference is a lot of times people think that you grow out of it. It's not that you grow out of it. It's the way that you express those symptoms as a child versus as an adult is going to be different. For example, yeah, you might have a 7-year-old boy with ADHD. He's running around the classroom. You take him to a restaurant. He's not sitting down. He's jumping up and down on the chairs. Fast forward 10 years. When that 7-year-old is 17, he's not going to the movie theater and jumping up and down on the chair. He's been socialized at that point. He knows he's going to get kicked out. They might call the police, whatever the consequences might be. People are not going to want to hang out with him. Oh, every time we go with you, we get in trouble. You jumping up and down. He's been socialized. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have ADHD anymore. It just means that he has learned now how to kind of suppress those feelings of wanting to get up and get out of the seat and jump up. That might be somebody who sits there and throughout the whole movie, they get to the end, they can't tell you what happened in that movie. Or they've lost huge chunks of what happened in that movie because they were thinking about something else. They weren't zoned in. They weren't paying attention the entire time. They were thinking about something else. So to go back to the original statement of what do adults look like when they have ADHD? They look like a bunch of different things. And for some adults who have ADHD, the way they present with their ADHD at home versus socially versus at work, sometimes is completely different. Because those environments and those requirements, what is required from you when you're at work versus what's required from you at home is completely different. I have patients who are diagnosed with ADHD and they will say all the time, like, I don't know what it is. When I'm at work, I know that I'm up against a deadline. I know that I don't want to disappoint people. Like I'm more on top of things. Whereas I get home and my home it's a mess. Things are all over the place. I can't find anything. I forget my doctor's appointments. I misplaced my keys. I put the remote in the freezer. I put my socks in the tub. You know, you're doing things, maybe making more mistakes at home because it's a different environment than at work or at school. Doesn't mean that person doesn't have ADHD. Oh, you have such good grades. You're doing so good at work. How could you have ADHD? What people don't understand is that person who has ADHD, the amount of effort that person has to put into doing what their counterparts don't have to put as much effort into. So it's different for everybody. It really is. So there's a lot of different types of treatment for ADHD. The ones that people are most familiar with is always just like, oh, I need meds. Oh, I need meds. Medication is a really, really great and really, really helpful option for some people. Not everybody wants medication. You do get a lot of patients who are just like, I really just want to tackle this now that I know what it is. Because a lot of people have it in the back of their mind where it's like, I always knew it. I just needed that validation. I needed someone to validate with me that I'm not, I'm going to use this word lightly here, not my words, in the words of my patients often. I just needed someone to validate that I'm not crazy, that I'm not losing my mind, that I am actually experiencing these symptoms, that this is a thing, that this diagnosis, it exists. And once they get to that point and we start talking about treatment, for some people, like I said, it's medication, right? We have the stimulants out there. We have the Adderalls. We have the Concertas. We have the Ritalins, right? The ones that everybody's, really, really familiar with. And then we have the non-stimulants. We have the Strateras. We have the, what's that new one that's out? We have the Qelbrees, right? So we've got some things out there. We've got Wellbutrin that's often used for adult diagnosed ADHD. So those are the medications. But then there's also a lot of other therapies that are necessary to managing ADHD. Here goes an example. So I like to assess with my patients, what are some things that trigger their ADHD symptoms? And for a lot of people, I find that it's stress and anxiety. So learning to manage your stress, although it's not in and of itself a medication, it is a way that people are treating their ADHD symptoms, because once their stress level gets to a certain level, it makes it that much harder to focus and concentrate and organize and remember and even sleep. And now if you connect that to anxiety, same thing. It makes it harder to focus and concentrate and sleep and do all of those different things. So again, like I said, although in and of itself, stress management is not a medication, it is a way to monitor and treat your symptoms of ADHD. I have patients who are on ADHD medication. They're on Adderall. But then they have circumstances that are putting so much stress on them that it's as if they weren't taking medication at all. And they'll come back and they're like, I don't feel like this is working at all. And I'll say, all right, well, sit down with me. Let's talk about what's going on. What's happening? What's going on? And then I can see like, all right, you're overwhelmed. You're stressed. Stress often messes with people's sleep. So now you're not getting 7, 8 hours, 9 hours of sleep. Now it's like broken sleep. You sleep 2-3 hours, you're up, takes you another hour to go back to sleep. It's broken. It's all connected. You're one person. So even though you think, oh, ADHD is over here and sleep is over here, and nope, it's all together. It's all together. So in my assessments, I really like to assess my patient as a whole so I can see what else is going on. Specifically, I don't want to leave my ladies out. Ladies, I'm not going to leave you out. I'm here. I got you. So for women, I'm always looking at things like, well, let's look at your menstrual cycle. What are your menstrual cycles like? What do you like the week before your cycle, the week of your cycle? What are your energy levels like? And I get a lot of women who will be like, yeah, I don't know what it is, but the week of my cycle or the week before I can't remember anything. Forget being irritable, right? That's what we always, talk about and make fun of. Like, oh yeah, she must be on her cycle. She's so irritable. Yeah, that's one thing. But when, a lot of things that people don't talk about is the memory, the fatigue, the indecisiveness, the racing thoughts. You know what I mean? Like I have patients who will describe to me their racing thoughts are almost like the credits at the end of a movie that are moving so fast that you can't even tell, okay, well, who did the cinematography? Like, I don't know who was in this movie. It's just moving so fast. So imagine going through your day like that, where you're feeling like you can't even catch on to anything because everything is just moving so fast. It becomes overwhelming very quickly, very quickly. So meeting with a patient and discussing her cycles. Are you on birth control? Are you and your spouse talking about having a baby, expanding your family, or so on and so forth? All of that, that's going to be part of that woman's treatment plan for her ADHD, because us understanding how that affects during that 2 weeks, that's 2 weeks of her life. That's 2 weeks out of the month in her life every single month that she's having to figure out a whole new treatment plan so that it doesn't affect her ADHD. So ADHD treatment, looks like a whole bunch of different things that are sometimes not just medication. Medication is important, like I said, don't get me wrong, but it's not for everybody, and it's often not the only thing. Very rarely have I come across a patient, if ever, where just giving them a medication was the only thing that we needed to do to truly treat their ADHD. Have you ever walked into a room and been like, what did I come in here for again? Have you ever been scrolling on your phone in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day, and you're like, I know I have work to do. I just can't get myself to do it. Or you have something important to do and you just totally forgot. Like, oh, you told me to do that? Yeah, you told me to do that. I don't remember that you told me to do that, but I trust that you told me to do that. These might be signs, they might be signs of ADHD. They might not be signs of ADHD, which is why it might be a good idea for you to reach out to me here at Augustin Psychiatric Associates so I can help you find out what's what.